Hey MotoAmerica fans, this is Max Flinders. Make sure you go to MotoAmerica YouTube channel and subscribe, comment, like. If you see me, definitely put a thumbs up.
It's round 8 of the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship from New Jersey Motorsports Park. It's time for MotoAmerica Superbikes at New Jersey. And the 15th race of the season for Supersport. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg White, standing alongside Jason Pridmore, two-time champ. Now, Jason, in Supersport, Sean Dillon Kelly has been the standout, especially as of late.
Yeah, he's definitely done the job, and he has one hand on that prize right now, and that is the championship. He's had an incredibly consistent year, winning a lot of races and doing the job that he needed to do.
There's only 100 points left on offer, but let's take a look at the last 9 races. He's only dropped 10 points, so 215 out of 225 with 7 wins. An incredible run for him. He leads his championship by 61 points. There's 100 left on offer. But, of course, we wanted to hear from Sean Dillon Kelly about his season, so Hannah had a chance to catch up with him.
Greg, it's been an incredible season all around for Sean Dillon Kelly, and it could very well all come down to this weekend. You've won 7 out of the last 8 races. What do you attribute to that consistency so far this year as opposed to last year?
Yeah, it's been a great season. Obviously, this is honestly the season I wanted last year. But at the end of the day, I feel like last year was a really important year because of how tough it was. I learned so much. I learned what it was to take my Suzuki to the next level, and have to fight and have to really push myself to the absolute limit. So with everything I learned, even though it was a tough last year, I was able to come in this year and put all that out there, and here we are now. Definitely putting the results down.
I know you like to take things kind of one race at a time, but looking at the bigger picture, you really could clinch the championship here this weekend. What are your emotions with that in mind?
Yeah, honestly, it's a dream to be living in this situation right now. It's a dream for me to be fighting for this championship, and I'm trying to keep calm and obviously still do the work that we need to do. But I'm really excited to get this championship down, and I can't wait to get those emotions and celebrate it with everyone.
Well, best of luck out there. And there's another rider in this class that's also made very consistent progress this season, and he's with Jamie Howe.
Hannah, that rider is Rocco Landers, who has finished on the podium in the last 3 races. Rocco, we've seen the steady progression. What changes have you made that got you here?
We finally found a setup that I like. It started kind of at Laguna. We've been working off of that and just a little bit of a different setup. It's easier on the tires, and I'm able to push a little bit hard towards the end of the race. We're working harder and harder and harder, and I've been feeling better and better and better, so I'm excited for this round.
This round happens at New Jersey Motorsports Park. You know the racetrack from racing here previously. What do you think about the 600? What can you do?
I mean, this is one of my favorite tracks on the calendar. It suits my bike and my riding style very well, and I really enjoy the riding here. I've had lots of good memories here, so really excited.
Excited Rocco Landers, Greg, means those points could close up even more.
No question about it. Rocco Landers looking to close the gap to the leaders and put his stamp here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. With Jason, let's take a look at this road course because it's a very interesting one, entertaining.
Shortest one on our calendar, Greg, but you can see this big, long front straightaway. We have a lot of action will happen down into turn 1 as far as drafting and passing down in there. Turns 3, B, C, all the way to the little wheelie hill before they go into turn 4. Very technical section of the track. And then, of course, we've got turns 7, 8, and 9. That's an uphill right-hander. You've got to make sure your bike is set up well to get all the way through there. Then you go through the small S's going into that fast last corner, Greg, that leads you back onto that straightaway, and that's where all the action will happen. We've seen draft and passes for the wins here right at that line. This track generally gives us exciting, close racing. But what about Richie Escalante? Is he going to lose his number 1 plate? He'll throw the kitchen sink at it to hold on to it.
Well, Roger Hayden, I'm Robbie Floyd, and we get to say our thoughts in between our Fox Sports show and as we get ready for the Supersport race. And these two guys been battling it out all year. And even when I was talking to Josh Hayes earlier, I was like, he wants to see something out of Sean Kelly, be out in front and push the same pace that he ran in qualifying. You said that numerous times this year.
Yeah, and I think this weekend, too, we see a lot of different guys up there. Sam Lockoff has been really quick, Rocco Landers. So we're going to see. It's going to be an interesting race. This track, I've talked about it before, always has really close racing, and I think you're going to see Sean Dillon Kelly and Richie Escalante go at it.
Yeah, never forget 9/11. This is the 20th year since the tragedy that happened at the Trade Center and the Pentagon, and in the field in Pennsylvania. You see Black Hall bike. Is that that's the different one than we saw in the paddock? He had a different one in the paddock. That says never forget on it, but it looked a little different. They have a couple of different skins maybe that they use for that bike, but again,
or
another
different sides.
A tribute bike. Yeah, different sides they use for it, but
they do a lot, you know, for the troops and people overseas. I wish if anybody's got social media, you should definitely go follow Black Hall Racing and see what they do.
Stefano Mesa going to start where in the field, because this is a class where it's one of the premier classes, right? Supersport and the Honda Superbike. Mesa's going to have to start back in the field. Didn't quite get the practice time that he needed because he was kind of penalized, I think, because he ran a club race the week before. And in the premier classes, you can't do that. Kind of put him on the back foot.
And also, you would have to think he's going to be riding a little bit angry this race. He just came off the track from a race where somebody else kind of got into him, and I don't think he was too happy about it. So I think he'll be trying to move through the pack pretty quick.
That was very well said, because you know all those people that get upset that they don't watch him.
I was treading lightly.
Yeah, but Stefano's riding a little angry out there right now, and I think the number one of Richie Escalante is going to be riding even more determined. There's been one race this year that we saw that, you know, he was out in front and he was pushing at Brainerd, and he threw it away because he was pushing so hard. I think this might be one of those races where he's really going to push hard like we haven't seen before.
And he has to. You know, he's got nothing to lose anymore. He has to do everything he can to get the win and, you know, try to make this championship go as long as he can.
Again, some final discussions there. Again, Hudson Valley Motorsports, they're a local dealership here, and I think the longest-running dealership and race team in the area.
Nolan Lampkin qualified on the top 2 rows. That has to be his best qualifying as well.
Yeah, qualifying in 6th, along with Rocco Landers, who is a rookie this year, as well as this guy. Look at Sam Lockoff on that front row. Now, we've seen him up there near the front, but we have not seen Sam Lockoff in qualifying, in practice, running as fast as we've seen him so far this week.
No, and I think for him, it's going to be a great race for him to get some learning. If he can get, you know, a good start, go with Escalante and Sean Dillon Kelly, he's going to learn so much.
Let those guys battle. Let Kelly, let Escalante go at it. I'm there to take this victory. Maybe we'll see Sam Lockoff get out in front and take off. We'll find out next.
Today's Supersport coverage is sponsored by Geico Motorcycle. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Well, that's a camera on my chin. Greg's ride of the race. As you can see, I like to look through the corners.
Yeah, I can see that.
Clearly.
That's great.
Heading into New Jersey Motorsports Park and the paddock. Straight back from where we're looking right now is Supersport motorcycles on their warm-up lap. Jason, you've been in this position before. You've won a couple national championships at this level. If you're Sean Dillon Kelly, what do you think is going through his mind emotionally right now?
I think he's just got his mind on the job at task. He wants to go out and win again. He responded nicely this morning by taking pole position. This is his young teammate Sam Lockoff, who had provisional pole overnight, who's had a tremendous year as well. But I think right now, SDK, he's got a 61-point lead. He's going to go into this race the same way he's gone into the rest of them. I'm sure he's had a good talk with the guys that he has surrounding him about just treating this like any other race. It's hard to do that sometimes, but really the pressure now is on Escalante. So if SDK can just go out there and do the same things he's been doing all year long, not change anything, you know, we'll be able to maybe see him be crowned champ this weekend.
Sam Lockoff with his foot off the peg, indicating he is slowing down and heading toward his grid position. So I think it's time for us to take a look at the starting grid and see how these racers qualified earlier on today. Sean Dillon Kelly able to get pole position at a 122.631.
Yeah, very fast. Then Escalante and Lockoff, as we said, on that front row. Then you have Lander Smith, and a really nice job from Nolan Lampkin outside of row 2. Dom Doyle, Jones, Kevin Almeida, and then, of course, Mesa, Thermiotis, and Carl Soltis there. Just back on row 4. Back to 5, we got LaRoche, Nassani, Liam Grant, Salazar, Miller, and Zaragoza. And Tony Blackhall is going to be back there in row number 7. So it's great seeing the weather the way it is, Greg. And I know you got hammered with rain on your ride up here, and you took it for all of us. That's good, because now it looks like the weather's supposed to be nice for the rest of the weekend here in Jersey.
And I think might play into the nerves of Sean Dillon Kelly on the cusp of his first national championship. Having a day like today, having it dry and having the speed he has, I have to imagine that you feel like you're in a little bit more control than you would if it was raining or something.
I agree. He didn't want to see rain this morning for sure. He wanted it to be nice and get a good start and good dry race. And I think, again, he wants to get a good start here, get away from the pack the best he can. He doesn't want to, he's going to really focus on getting this launch.
When the red lights go off, it's time to go racing. You can hear those revs up. Supersport race number 1 from NJMP is underway. And oh my goodness,
what a start.
What a launch from the M4X Star Suzuki rider Sean Dillon Kelly. And that is not what the number 1 plate at Richie Escalante saw. And there goes his teammate Lockoff into second spot.
Yeah, that's a really nice work by Lockoff to get himself and jump it into second. I'm trying to see if that's fourth, if that's Nassani that's jumped into fourth, or Almedo. Yeah, it's Almedo, I think, there, who's got himself into fourth. But Sam Lockoff, fast yesterday. Obviously, we've watched him just continue to get better, and he puts himself in between his teammate and his main rival for the championship, Richie Escalante. So this is what SDK needed right off the bat. Lockoff already looking pretty racy there in second, but he's got a really good head on his shoulders. He's not going to do anything crazy going into turn 5 there.
Yeah, you have to imagine the team talked about this exact situation after Lockoff was on provisional pole after yesterday's qualifier number 1. Meaning, what do you do if you're getting into a race with your teammate Sean Dillon Kelly, who's going for the national championship? Do you race him close? Lockoff looking for a way around SDK. All the while, there is Richie Escalante.
Yeah, as much as he was looking down the inside, I also think that's a move to make it to where Escalante wouldn't be able to go down the inside of him also, Greg. But yeah, now you're seeing Lockoff run with these 2 leaders, and he's had pace all weekend. If he can get out of this corner and pass his teammate safely, maybe by drafting him coming out of this last corner and drafting down that front straightaway, he'll go ahead and make that pass. But you can see SDK's got a nice run through that last corner. Lockoff's going to get in the draft here and pull out.
Here comes Sam Lockoff, and to the lead he goes, and Escalante trying to follow him as well. So Sean Dillon Kelly relegated to 3rd spot, and all of a sudden we have a young South African who takes over the point.
This is perfect scenario for SDK. Now he can sit there, kind of watch what's going on. He knows his teammates up front, trying to get his first victory, and the number 1 Escalante really needs to get a win here today to really kind of get this, keep it even kind of close at all. I'm sure that Escalante would love to have somebody else other than Lockoff up there in this battle. You can see Benjamin Smith trying to close that gap up to these lead 3 guys. The 88 there didn't get to see exactly where he was off the line, but we know he was outside the top 4. So Benjamin Smith doing a nice job of recovering and trying to close this gap up.
Sam Lockoff looking awfully good right now, Hannah.
He is, Greg, and this is also his very first front row start on the 600, and off to a great start he is. You know, he said he would really like to lead a couple laps if possible. Well, obviously that's definitely a possibility, despite some of the issues he was having earlier this weekend with turning and holding it tight, especially in the long turns. They made some small changes to the rear to try and improve that, but he said overall his fitness is strong and he can muscle the bike around to get it where he wants to go, and he is doing just that.
Yeah, he's doing a really nice job right now, Hannah. Escalante is going to try to do the same thing here. He's going to try to get out of this draft of Lockoff as they come onto the front straightaway and do something with him down into turn number 1. Lockoff does a nice job of moving over to the right to make Escalante go the long way around, which he's not going to be able to do. So Lockoff really smart, savvy work there as he comes out of that last corner to move himself over to the right, prevent anybody from getting up underneath you going into that braking zone. Escalante had to just fall back in behind him, Greg.
The 19-year-old out of Cape Town, South Africa, Sam Lockoff, 44 M4X Star Suzuki, leading the way. Currently 3rd in our championship point standings. And for Lockoff, he and Rocco Landers have a bit of a battle going on for 3rd. And Lockoff trying to put some distance between himself and Rocco, who's back in 5th spot. So it's Lockoff, Escalante, number 1 plate, Sean Dillon Kelly, and Benjamin Smith in 4th place, ahead of Landers, Almedo, Jones, Lampkin, Mesa, and Doyle.
And Benjamin essentially ran the same lap time as SDK that last lap by Benjamin Smith, that is. So he's kind of just there trying to, catch these guys, but it's really hard. And, we've been wondering, Greg, if Escalante and SDK were to leave this class next year, as some things are being suspected that could happen, who's going to take to the front? And you can see it right now. Lockoff towards the end of the year here, right at the end, he's showing that he's got pace to run with the 2 guys that have essentially the last 2 years won everything in this class. So Lockoff, this is going to be really a good confidence-inspiring couple weeks for him if he can do what he's doing here at Barber as well. He's going to lead another lap, and these guys have nothing for him when they come down the straightaway as they go into turn 1.
In second place is Richie Escalante, and Jamie, doesn't look like he's hitting the panic button just yet.
No, he's not just yet. You mentioned that #1 plate on the bike from winning the championship last year. Before the race, he was thinking about that, and he said, you know, I know the position that Sean Dillon Kelly's in. I remember that weekend when I was mathematically able to clinch those point championships. He said that's not an easy mindset to ride in. He knows the pressure that's on Sean Dillon Kelly right now. He said, for me, I don't have any pressure. All I have to do is go out and win this race, and really from a mental standpoint, that's a little bit easier as we see him rubbing just a little bit, Greg. This race is going to turn up the heat on this championship.
Yeah, for Escalante, he slides himself back into third spot. Jay, what are you seeing?
I didn't see that actually, Greg, but it's this is good. When you look at what Escalante had to do coming into this weekend, 2 second places to the guy leading the championship wasn't going to cut it. So he might have been waiting a little bit to try to do something late in this race. You can see him run extremely wide here, runs really out wide, and these two Suzukis now have a gap over Escalante as he runs wide in turn number 9. You can see, Greg, he's lost a lot of time.
He has. Watching his hopes of regaining that #1 plate slip through his fingers. I mean, with a 61-point lead and only 100 on offer, it's a tall tale. This is what happened, Jason.
Here we go. He's going to get just down the inside, and SDK does a really nice job of just parking that bike right up underneath Escalante. And it's tight down in there, so you can see SDK. He still wants to go forward. He wants to win the race, and he wants to win the championship. And right now, the two Suzukis have just broke away ever so slightly. We're looking at we're looking at 24.5s compared to mid-23s. So we'll see if Escalante is able to close this gap back down. From what I've noticed this weekend, Greg, these two M4 bikes look like they've got just a little bit more pace over the amount of laps that they were doing in practices and things.
And looking at that pass that Sean Dillon Kelly just put on Richie Escalante, Jason, it's a season worth of getting that bike to feel perfect for him, and that's a lot of trust in the front end.
Well, think how much confidence you have to have in your bike and everything else when you know kind of what's on the line. But he can put that bike anywhere he wants, and we've seen that all year long. His bike looks good on corner entries, and STK has just stepped everything up this year. And I think the biggest one's the mental game. He's learned a lot about himself, has matured on and off the motorcycle, and he's just riding right now with a ton of confidence. He's probably really happy seeing his teammate doing what he's doing as he looks like he's trying to slide up underneath Lockoff. See, Lockoff saw that blue fender and thought, okay, I know who this is. Really smart by Sam as well, giving his teammate a little bit of room there. Now, if he can just get his head down and follow STK, they might try to be able to pull away, but that #1, you can never count Richie Escalante out, can you?
No, you definitely can't. If he can find something, especially mid-race. Oh, look at that. Lockoff is just not messing around with SDK. He goes back to the front.
Yep.
I'm sure right now Team Hammer, the Ulrich family, is kind of crossing their fingers going, all right, Sam, take it easy, take it easy.
Sam, I honestly,
they're all clean, but
Sam is a really smart kid. He's not going to do anything to jeopardize anything. He wants to win his first race, obviously. And I think ideally, if he could come out of that last corner on the last lap and maybe do something, he would do that going down the front straightaway. I don't think he's going to put himself into too much problems anywhere else as Lockoff goes the fastest first sector of the race. We see here on our screen, but look at Escalante just kind of clawing his way back in. And he's going to remember where SDK passed him. It was a clean, everything safe pass, but Escalante is going to want to give that back and try to get back through.
Yeah, but also Escalante did the right thing, Jason, in the sense that he didn't try to lean on Sean Dillon Kelly and then take them both out. And that shows, obviously, the maturity of the 26-year-old Escalante.
But they've raced like that for 2 years, haven't they?
Yep.
You and I we're amazed sometimes. We sit here and there never seems to be any real hostilities or anything going on the racetrack itself. As he loses a little bit of time, Escalante does, in this third sector. He's lost a little bit here. But yeah, these guys have raced close for the last 2 years, and now SDK is going to try to do to Sam Lockoff what he had done the lap before. But look how well Sam gets off that last corner.
He does. He gets a really good drive.
Really
so
nice.
That's GSXR 600 versus GSXR 600 made by Suzuki. And you can see that SDK was able to close up on Sam Lockoff. A lot of that just had to do with the draft. Lockoff up and out of the saddle, bike bucking around a little bit, but still able to hold on to it. No issues. Boy, a lot of work in the offseason and all the way through the season with PJ Jacobson, Sam Lockoff. It's really starting to come together. And is this the coming out party that we're witnessing right now from Lockoff in the future of Supersport racing?
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. The thing is that right now he is the guy kind of setting the pace, running the pace with these guys. He's not getting dropped. He's leading the laps. He's getting to experience all that. And again, we've talked about P.J. Jacobson quite a bit this year, who's mentored him and got him doing all the things he needs to do correct. When you have a guy like that in your corner, it pays big dividends. And there's a lot of things that I'm sure has been taught at the go-kart track on super motard bikes and all the other things that they've been doing. And that's what happens. You see these young kids. This runs a little bit wide there, gets in a little bit deep. And, this is kind of a new experience for him as SDK looks again, but not quite close enough. But look what's happened.
Escalante right there now.
Yeah, and so look at the second split. Escalante 18.7, fastest split of the race. Now he's in a good spot here, Greg, to draft both of these guys down the straightaway.
Escalante in third on the black and green Kawasaki. He gets on the gas. He's trying to use that draft, that slipstream. They fan wide, 3 abreast, and Sean Dillon Kelly. Demon on the brakes in turn 1. Can he hold on to it? Lockoff has a notion, and he does. So Lockoff retakes the lead as Sean Dillon Kelly had opened the door. That was more line choice than anything else.
That was just more that SDK got in there a little bit deep, wasn't able to get on the gas the way he normally would. So Lockoff just turned back up underneath him on the exit there and was able to do it. Nothing, again, there's nothing there that is going to cause any big concerns. Easy for me to say. Kelly might go underneath him here. Yeah, he's and you saw him do that to Escalante before. That's what SDK needed maybe to try to get by in the infill part and then try to pull a little gap. Now, is Escalante going to attack right away? That's generally what you will see is you attack that guy right away who's been attacked. But here you go on the left side of your screen. This is down into turn 1. You can see SDK's in there just up underneath him. The bike's moving around. He's letting off the lever right now, Greg, and running a little bit wide, and Lockoff's able to turn that bike back up underneath him. So we see that kind of crossover a lot, and that's just what he was able to do there. And then again, this is going to be coming down into that turn 4 section, the fast kink here at New Jersey. And we saw Sean Dillon Kelly earlier go up underneath Richie Escalante here, and he was able to do the same thing to his teammate.
Right side of your screen are the live pictures. And coming across the stripe, it's going to be Sean Dillon Kelly at 23.616 to a 123.620. Now we're getting into some of the real estate where does Sam Lockoff have the setup, have the ability to make this speed go the distance?
Well, that's the thing, is the sustainability. I mean, he has literally shown he is the class of the field compared to all the rest, with the exception of the 2 guys that we've seen running at the front all year long. I mean, they've got right now, what they got, Greg? Almost 4 seconds on Rocco Landers and Benjamin Smith, who are back there battling for 4th. So right now, Sam Lockoff, this is kind of like you say, a coming out party for him in the sense that he's able to show that he can run the pace with these 2 guys up at the front. Now, this is huge, like really championship ramifications. If there's a way that Lockoff can finish in between these 2 guys, that'll make Escalante's job obviously even harder. Escalante just can't afford to not win this race at this stage.
In MotoAmerica competition, if we look at the points and the way they're accumulated each race to the year, there's a difference of 5 points between first and second, 4 points between second and third, 3 from third to fourth, and eventually we get down to where these 5th, 6th, 7th, they're just a single point. So it's up top here where the most amount of points can be made up or lost, and Sam Lockoff is doing what a teammate should do in this situation. Not only is he running up front and setting the pace, but he's also putting himself in between Richie Escalante and his teammate Sean Dillon Kelly, who now the 44 goes to the point again.
Yep.
The question is this rattling the brain of Sean Dillon Kelly, or is SDK having some fun?
Well, he's going to know that the number 1 bike is right behind them still. They're going to be seeing their pit boards saying +0. I'm sure the M4 bikes pit boards are pretty close together. So even when SDK is going by, he's going to see Lockoff's pit board as well saying +0. So they know that Escalante is still there. Now let's see if Lockoff closes the door this time. Escalante, see, he wanted to have a go that time at SDK. Sean Dillon Kelly, yesterday I was down that section of the track watching. He's extremely fast through turn 4, and he's not scared to be on that white line on the inside of 5. He breaks very deep into there and still able to get out of that turn 5 area pretty clean. But Escalante right now, he would love nothing more than to see Lockoff finish second to him and give him a little bit of a buffer. But there's a lot of things right now, I'm sure, going through SDK's head, but he's got things pretty well under control.
What do you think about that, Hannah?
As we approach the halfway point of this race, I was talking to Sean Dillon Kelly about his plan for today. He said yesterday they really focused on tire conservation because he's struggled with that in the past at this track specifically. They found a really good setting, and it also helped them led to a change this morning that helped him pick up some more speed. You know, earlier Jamie was talking about the pressure that Richie Escalante felt on his championship winning weekend, and I wanted to talk to Sean about it. He said he really doesn't feel a lot of pressure. He knows if he keeps doing what he's been doing, that he can capture the title eventually. He'd like it to be this weekend, but really he just wants to focus on his job.
It's going to be really interesting to hear what Sean Dillon Kelly has to say after this race, because most of the season it's been a two-rider battle. It's just been SDK and Richie Escalante. Now all of a sudden, Sam Lockoff has arrived to the party, and I'm sure, Jason, if there's a championship in sight, that Sean Dillon Kelly would like to win the race, stand on top of the podium with his #1 plate. The possibility of that happening this race is slim to none. If it finishes like this, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be sometime tomorrow.
Even if SDK won and Escalante ended up second, it wouldn't happen today.
Exactly.
So, you know, basically he's got to go into tomorrow's race with at least a 75-point lead, and right now it's only at 61. But still, he's got to be really encouraged, too, by his young teammate doing the job that he's doing. I mean, really, Sam hasn't put a wheel wrong. We saw him run wide in this corner about 4 laps ago, and that was essentially it. All of his passes have been nothing but clean and set up nicely, and he's taken advantage of his size, I think, down that front straightaway. He's good out of the last corner, so he's able to even sometimes pull a little bit of a gap through there. As you can see, SDK now is going to get another run on him here as they come through that last corner.
Onto the front straightaway, M4 X-Star Suzuki's getting after each other. Kawasaki of Escalante got a good drive to make up a couple bike lengths, but it's got to be processional in there. Jay, just to give you a better idea, if Sean Dillon Kelly was able to win this race, Escalante would have to finish basically lower than 5th place in order for SDK to wrap it up in this race.
This particular one.
Exactly. There's so many different scenarios to talk about, but
yeah, when you look back to 4th right now, Rocco Landers is 4.4 back. The bummer about that for me is that Rocco's doing the exact same time as the leaders, and he's doing it on his own. You're going to see him probably pop up. Here he comes. He'll come up over this little wheelie hill. This guy here is running the same pace. Got no drafting partner, has nobody around him, but it's like the starts. We just don't see Rocco up at the start as much as he would like to be in those first 2 laps. Jamie?
He's going to think about that too, Jason. Before the race, he told me he was looking to get a better start than what he had been getting. Their setup on this bike is to perform better at the end of the race. That's where we've always seen Rocco Landers shine. So he was expecting to be able to turn these lap times here in the second half, but he really wanted to be able to stay with the leaders. He said, if I can get a good start and if I can turn those lap times early that they can, then a podium is definitely within the cards. That was his goal. So he's not going to be happy with being back and forth. They went backwards in the second qualifying session, had to go back to an older setup on that motorcycle. So they're going to have some work to do tonight, but Rocco's definitely going to continue thinking about those starts.
Yeah, and Sean Dillon Kelly took over the lead again, and that's what Rocco would need anyway, for SDK, Lockoff, and Escalante to really start roughing each other up. But now Lockoff is starting to lose some ground, and that's the point where I was talking about. Does Lockoff have the setup to go this pace? And he might be losing a little bit of grip on that setup, as now Sean Dillon Kelly is really starting to pull the pin on this one.
Trying to drop the hammer, and I think that Lockoff will stay with Escalante this lap. It'll be interesting to see, but if he can stay with him long enough to get back to that front straightaway, don't be surprised to see the 44 go back past that #1. As you can see right now, he's still able to hold on to the back of Escalante. We're going to look at our board here, see if SDK is able to pull these gaps out through each one of these sectors. He's got 2/10 over these guys in the first sector, but Escalante pulls back a 10th in the second sector. But the third sector is where, in my opinion, Escalante has been struggling. So we'll see where it goes in this third split as they roll up this hill. It's big, long right-hander rolling up this hill on the edge of the tire.
Jason, let's talk about the mental aspect of racing, because often people don't associate with the stress of the mental side directly relating to your physical exhaustion. Do you think that with Sam Lockoff being new up at the front and leading, that perhaps part of this you're seeing is the sigh of relief, or the mental, the mental side of things kind of taking its toll in him late in the race?
A little bit. I mean, he's not going to want to let these guys go. As you can see, they have opened up a tiny gap over Lockoff back there. But, I mean, the thing is he's proven already, and he knows that people are watching in the paddock and seeing what he's doing and how well he's done, and he's handled himself like a true professional today. He knows these guys, and here we go. It looks like Jarrett Nassani has tipped over. It looks like Greg turned number 9 there.
Nassani looked like he was in 13th spot.
But I think for Lockoff, the thing is he's proven to a lot of people today that he's capable of running this pace. And if it is indeed him just learning how to make a tire last or feeling a bike moving around up underneath him a little bit more, you got to remember that's the stuff that these two guys at the front have been doing for years. And he's new to this series this year in 600 Supersport. And for me, Lockoff's done just a really nice job. Escalante has closed that gap at 24-0 to 24-1 that last time by. He did lose some time in the third sector, but Greg, he's so good.
Yeah, in the third sector, I saw Escalante get on the gas and the foot come off the pegs.
Yep.
So there are some warning signs that Escalante is starting to lose a little bit of traction, but also we know from watching these two, the Suzuki versus the Kawasaki, Sean Dillon Kelly versus Richie Escalante, that Escalante's had a motorcycle that is a lot looser and wheels not perfectly in a line compared to the Suzuki.
You see how those two just rolled away from Lockoff ever so slightly, and see that's gonna ruin STK's drive onto the front straightaway there, that big wobble that he just got, and Escalante might be able to do something with him. He's putting himself on the outside there. It's going to be difficult, Greg. Let's see if STK tries to go back up underneath him. He's going to do that. It's really hard to make that pass from the outside and be good, and Escalante turns back up underneath him, though, and makes that pass stick.
And look what it's done, too. Now Lockoff gets a couple bike lengths closer as these two start to duke it out, and that's what happens when you're holding up the rider in front of you, going back and forth. So Lockoff, if he can hold on through this section, could put himself in a position to retake the lead. Loses a couple bike lengths on the drive. Now you're looking at Richie Escalante and his body language. It's starting to get a little bit more hectic. Foot coming out now.
See how tight he went into there, too?
Yeah, he's blocking lines. He's protecting the inside line. How do you like Supersport and the amount of passes we've had in this one? It's up to 8 so far, lead changes.
Yeah, and you can see he gets up underneath him, but he does the same kind of thing he did with Lockoff earlier. He just gets it and runs it a little bit wide, has to almost release that lever so that he doesn't tuck the front down there, and it allows Escalante to sneak underneath him. Now, for me, the 44's got some question marks. He's probably sitting there thinking to himself, is Sam, all right, do I engage with these guys anymore? I know they're trying to settle the championship out between them. It's going to be a case of if he can get by him, he's going to do it clean. He loses a lot of time right now in that turn 10 sector. So that'll be a place where Lockoff will talk with his crew and team overnight to try to figure out on a tire that gets a little bit more used what he can do there to make it a little bit better for tomorrow's race. So as they come across the line now, 24-0, 24-3, 24-5 for Lockoff. And it's really that last little sector that Sam's losing from those guys in one particular corner.
What I've witnessed from Escalante in this one, Jay, is pretty cool because there's a couple corners where Escalante knows he can fall under attack from Sean Dillon Kelly, and he's slowed the pace and taken more of an inside line to make sure that it doesn't happen. And where Escalante is faster, he's using all the racetrack. So Richie Escalante, your number 1 plate for the moment at 26 years old out of Mexico in a fierce battle with Sean Dillon Kelly. And these two are not the best of friends by any stretch of the imagination. There are no Christmas cards being swapped during the holiday season between these two. But man, we have seen some incredible battles over the course of the last 2 seasons. And really a lot of respect for racing between these two.
Yeah, you'd never know what you just said to be true if you just watched these guys on the track in the last 2 years, because we've never really seen anything ever that's gone on between the two of them that would be even questionable. And, you know, they race each other extremely clean, and it's fierce, but it has been clean. Now, STK going to try to get another good run here out of that last corner. They have dropped the hammer a little bit this lap. There's a couple purples on our screen as far as fastest lap of the race there goes to Richie Escalante, 23.5. He had the fastest sector in sector number 2, but I didn't think it was going to be the fastest lap of the race, but that's exactly what it is. 23.5 for both of these guys at the front.
Yeah, and SDK, he set the fastest lap of his race just 1/100th of a second slower. So they are starting to push, and you can see what it's causing. They're starting to eke away from Sam Lockoff, who goes 24-2 the last time by the stripe. So he lost 0.7 of a second on that lap as Lockoff's education continues. He's solidly on a podium spot, though, 4.2 seconds ahead of Rocco Landers.
Well, I can tell you, as happy as this M4 team will be for SDK, they're going to be equally as happy as the ride that Lockoff has made today. But right now, pretty impressed with Escalante. He's got a lot of pressure on him to try to win this race, and he's done a really nice job at getting himself to the front, trying to manage this lead the best he can. Looking at these splits again, SDK has closed up a little bit in that first split, lost a little bit in the second, but see this third split. This is the one where the Suzuki just seems to work a little bit better than that Kawasaki in front. Now, he's got to get through these last couple of corners and onto this front straightaway clean to try to put himself down the inside of Escalante down into turn number 1.
Here we go, Honos, Hudson Valley Motorcycle Racing's Richie Escalante trying to hold off the advances of Sean Dillon Kelly, who looks awfully fast right now. Protecting that inside line is Richie Escalante. SDK did not have a notion. Happy right now to kind of follow. It's like SDK, who just sets the fastest lap of the race now at a 123.362. Incredible with 2 laps to go. How well these Dunlop tires are holding up to the torrid pace that these Supersport racers are putting them through. But Jason, something tells me that SDK's got a little bit in reserve, even though he just set the fastest lap of the race. Is the door open? It is. So he sneaks up the inside, and SDK now with the lead. Is Escalante going to be able to fight back? A good drive from the Suzuki.
Yesterday, he was just doing that lap after lap, Greg, on his own. I mean, when you have the confidence in the front end of a bike to be able to go into that corner as tight as it is, what it really helps you is the corner before it. Turn 4 is such a fast kink, and he's not worried about having to open up turn 5. He can bury it right into turn 5 on the as tight as he wants to go and still get out of there clean and still run fastest laps of the race. So we'll see here now as he takes the lead. He's got about two laps and 2 corners to go. They're going to see the white flag, not this time by, but the lap after that. But he's going to put head down and try to do everything he can to pull away, because we know he's capable of getting into those 22s like we saw him do this morning. Right now, he's got a big enough gap down this front straightaway where it is white flag, Greg. Sorry.
Yeah.
White flag is out.
Last lap of the race.
And that was weird because SDK looked back after he went through the white flag. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, there goes Escalante. So he retakes the lead. Now Sean Dillon Kelly's got to think about what to do. How much is he going to risk? He's got 61 points in this championship. Is it just about now, just about this moment in time? Does Sean Dillon Kelly want to put it on the line and retake the lead and try to grab race number 1 here at New Jersey Motorsports Park victory? He's close enough. They're both driving. There he is under the brakes. Can he hold on to it? He does. So SDK trying to accelerate, little wheel in the air, and there goes Escalante back around again.
Yeah,
how do you like this final lap?
He is still fighting, isn't he? I mean, he is doing everything he can to try to go up underneath Escalante. Now, the next possible move for the Suzuki is going to be down in turn 10. If Escalante runs it out a little bit wide in this left-hander that they're going to be coming into after this tight right, you can expect SDK to try to shove it up underneath him. As you can see, now they're close. Escalante makes a big mistake,
he had
and
to get off the gas.
takes the lead.
So Escalante had to get off the gas, but now does he have a drive? You can see the motorcycle moving around in that Kawasaki. He's trying to find it all on the throttle. Here we go through the final corner, the right-hander. Onto the front straightaway we go. SDK in a tuck, and it's side by side. Oh, photo finish, and it's got to be Escalante by 6 thousandths of a second. Are you kidding me? Wow.
Wow, Greg, I'll tell you, that start-finish line is right out my window, and it looked a little closer than that to me.
That's 6 thousandths? That's pretty.
Actually, it didn't look as close to me as that, so we'll have to look at that again. Yeah, I thought SDK actually won that race, if in my opinion. So we'll have to have a look at this.
Photo finish replay. Let's take a look, and that could be where. Yeah, that's it. It's Sean Dillon Kelly who wins that race. That is simply the placement of the transponders on the motorcycle. They can be placed wherever, and it's up to MotoAmerica to decide. But that one is pretty clear that the win is going to go to Sean Dillon Kelly. Our timing and scoring folks are going to have a look at it. They're going to confirm it, and then we will see it change on our timing and scoring screens. If you're watching this timing and scoring on your app, you're seeing what we're seeing. But definitely, it's going to be a win by Sean Dillon Kelly. That was so close, boy, oh boy.
Yeah, like you say, with the transponders and where they're at. I mean, he had half a wheel there when they came across that line. And, but how about this guy? Sam Lockoff, tremendous job. I mean, when you look at what he did, he's only 4.1 back at the end. And really, really impressive from him today. So when we go back and we start looking at some of these passes, Greg, that last lap was pretty wild. I think we saw, how many lead changes did we see in the last lap? Probably 4 lead changes on that last lap. And you can see they came across the line. Now, I don't know if SDK thought that was the last lap. That's what I was saying. He was looking around thinking that maybe the race was over. There was still 1 to go. And you can see Escalante slides back up underneath him as they come out of turn 1. And you just knew he was going to take a shot when they got down to turn 5, and he did. And look how tight Escalante went in there. SDK went in there a little bit tighter, wasn't able to make that stick. And I really thought that it would be turn 10 that the pass might come. But you can see Escalante gets in there a little wide, didn't he? Lost the front a little bit over those bumps. SDK takes the lead, and then now really it's just a photo finish between these two.
So it's Sean Dillon Kelly who will take victory. The official margin of victory is 4 thousandths of a second. Sean Dillon Kelly wins over Richie Escalante. In the end, Sam Lockoff is going to be 4.1 seconds behind. Rocco Landers in 4th. Benjamin Smith in 5th. Kevin Olmedo, Nolan Lampkin back in race action in 7th. Stefano Mesa from 10th on the grid finishes 8th. Dominic Doyle and Alex Thermiotis. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, you're going to want to hear what SDK has to say about this one. It was awesome.
Few pageant waves for Sean Dillon Kelly there, and what a win. And you see that's what, 6 thousandths of a second is what it's showing right now, and it came down to the end. And I knew it was going to come down to a photo finish. Time of scoring had it a little different. I'm Robbie Floyd with Roger Hayden. I was sitting there watching that last lap. I'm going, Sam Lockoff's about to get his first win of his career in Supersport, and it was that close that Sean just said to take that victory. Now he has a 66-point advantage going into the final 3 races of the year.
What a great ride by all 3 of those guys, and great last lap. Watching those 2 guys go at it is really awesome. They put on such good racing. They do really hard passes on each other, and my favorite thing is about those 2, they pass each other hard, but you've never heard one of them crying after the race that the other one was dirty or too aggressive. So hopefully we get another one tomorrow, and we can get another good race like that. But that was a great race.
Chris Ulrich there talking with his guy, trying to win that Supersport Championship and take that victory after we saw Bobby Fong 2 years ago win the Supersport Championship, who was teammates with Sean Dillon Kelly in his first year. There's his trainer giving hugs and love all around. There were no cares given to that. Both of those guys just really threw it out there, and it's almost one of those cases where I don't. Greg was talking about how they're kind of race nice. That was not a nice race. Those were the fiberglass races that you go like, okay, it's going to take some rubbing to make a pass here this time.
Yeah, and they both got into each other a little bit at certain times, even rubbing elbows to the start-finish, and that's what they did all year. They did it last year. They continue to have this little rivalry between each other, and they just go back and forth, put tight. That pass into turn 5, I didn't think there was enough room there whenever Sean Dillon Kelly, the last lap, but he made it happen.
Sam Lockoff was out in front. We didn't even talk about that. You and I saw out our window. His mom didn't even see that race, and it was a race that he could have won. He was there to, about 5-6 till the end. He was out in front. The best race we've seen out of him this year. I thought if those guys slowed down from their race, their qualifying pace, they were letting Sam in it, and they did just that.
No, Sam rode a great race, his best ride so far. I said it before. For him to have a great race, he doesn't have to necessarily win it. He just needs to run with these guys and learn so much. And, I was really glad to see, even though his teammate's going for a championship, he was still as aggressive with Sean as he was everyone else. And he rode a great race. Tomorrow, I believe he'll be even stronger for longer. Beginning of the race, when you're leading your first race, you forget to breathe. You get arm pumped. You get tight. And I'm sure he had a little bit of that going on.
And, again, that is the best race there. That's Mom there. I hate to say it, Sam, she didn't see a lap of your race. She had her head down looking at her watch the whole time. I want to tell the riders and everybody that's participating in the 9/11 tribute, if you would, make your way towards the track at this time. If you would, if you're participating in the 9/11 piece, if you would, please work your way towards the track
15 minutes could
at
save you
this time.
15% or more on your car or motorcycle insurance. And by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series.
Yeah, welcome back to New Jersey Motorsports Park, and that is a well-deserved celebration between Sean Dylan Kelly and fans. And hey, wait a second. Listen, I know SDK. His head's not that big in real life.
Yeah, no, it should be. He did a great job today with what he just did. A race that he didn't really have to win. He just went out and did it.
Let's get right down to Hannah, who's in victory lane.
An impressive performance from all three of our podium finishers today, but especially Sean Dylan Kelly, who captures yet another victory in the charge toward his first championship. Sean, a battle with your very own teammate and Richie right to the line. How much were you willing to risk there on that last lap?
Well, clearly I was willing to risk quite a bit. I went out there to win. I came this weekend, everyone's talking about, yeah, my chances to win the championship are quite high. I didn't even have to win to clinch the championship, well, tomorrow hopefully, but it doesn't matter. I come here because I work hard to win, so I'm going to do that every single weekend. We've been doing it all weekend, all season long, we've been doing the right job, so if I did it up to now, why can't I do it again? So this race was one of the closest ones. I made a little mental mistake there with 2 laps to go, thinking it was the last lap, so once I realized it wasn't the last lap, I had to quickly group myself together, and I was able to get it done again. So this is amazing, feels good. Happy birthday to Jeremy Toy. I think I gave you a good little present. I don't know. It's okay, he's only turning 25, so all good, really happy, and like I said, we still have tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be an important day for us, so gonna learn from today. We have a few things that we can do, but huge thank you to my whole M4XR Suzuki team. Thank you to my family. Thank you to everyone here. Thank you to Mike for keeping me strong, Fresh and Lean for keeping me strong as well, and just everyone that's here supporting me, and last but not least, all the fans. Thank you guys.
Congrats, Sean, and let's get over to Jamie Howe.
Richie Escalante knew what was on the line. There was a little mistake on that last lap of the race. Richie, if you could go back and do it all over again, what would you change about this race?
Yeah, today, to be honest, some surprise today. I know he very fast all weekend, so yeah, he pushed a lot, and then Sean just stay there. And yeah, today I don't feel so great with my front feeling in the bike, so I have a couple mistakes, a couple moments. I try my best, never give up. I try everything to the last lap. Very fun the last laps, pushing hard and then finishing the line. I tried to pass, then Sean going to take left, and then with the wind, everything, yeah. So happy for finishing the podium, so I hope to improve tomorrow morning and come back stronger and try to win the race.
He certainly had the speed, gets another chance tomorrow. That's Richie Escalante. Let's go back to Hannah.
And rounding out our podium today is the number 44 of Samuel Lockoff. When I spoke to Sam this morning, he said he wanted to lead a few laps if possible, but Sam, you are closer to winning your first ever career Supersport race than ever. Was there anything that you learned during this race that'll help you get the job done tomorrow?
Yeah, riding with the fastest guys, you always learn everything. I was learning every lap. I made a couple mistakes. The big place was just the long left, I think turn 10. I just couldn't keep the bike to turn, and that's where I would lose at least half a second. But we're going to go back, and we're going to do a couple changes. My front tire, towards the end of the race, started folding a little bit, so I'll go back and we'll go look at why that was. But yeah, leading a couple laps, like you said, it felt like a win, but tomorrow I think if we can fix that long left, it will definitely be closer to the front.
Congratulations, Samuel Lockoff, today's third place finisher.
Impressive.
Yeah, no, really good. But we could see it on the TV, exactly that, in our telecast here where he was losing that time. You look at the results here, look at that. It's like there's not even
photo finish.
Photo finish.
I mean, really, really we've seen on our timing and scoring screen, it's gone from .004 to 6 to .001. And,
And Landers was coming there, too. You can see he was only a second behind, less than a second behind at the finish. Benjamin
and Jay Rocco set the fastest lap of his race personally
really
at 1:23.6 on the last lap.
Yep.
So for sure, Rocco Landers has got something in it for tomorrow.
He's got the pace. It's just he's got to get that Yamaha R6 off the line with those guys and get up front with them early, because then he can start to run his race and ride the way we know Rocco can.
So for Sean Dillon Kelly, Jason, the comments that he made, since we didn't get to talk right after that, how impressed are you with this 19-year-old and the mindset he has towards this championship?
Well, I think that when you can tell yourself, this is what I've been doing all year. I've been coming here focused to win races. Let everything else take care of itself, and that's what he's doing. And now he's made it a little bit easier for himself tomorrow to do this. When we came in here, we thought if Escalante won both races, it'll get carried over to Barber. Well, now that's been thrown out the window because SDK came here with the mindset that he was going to win the race, and that's exactly what he was able to do. And really, it was a mistake by Escalante with 4 corners to go that allowed SDK to sneak up underneath him. But that constant pressure all the time that SDK's put on him all year long, he's just been relentless.
More coverage from Supersport from NJMP after the break. Stay with us.
What a run, man. Cool to hear some things from Sammy. He thinks he has a shot tomorrow. He knows it's all in 10. It's in that one sector.
Yeah, it's that turn 10. He was losing so much through there, and it's kind of weird to lose so much time through there. It's kind of a slow corner, but if he can get that fixed, he should be stronger tomorrow because he's having to take more chances other parts of the track to make up for the time that he's losing there.
And if Rocco Landers can get those starts fixed, he's going to be there in that battle for the top 3 as well.
Yep, that's just the main thing with Rocco. We've been hard on him all year. I tease him a lot about his starts, but that's the reason why.
Proof in the pudding, as they say in Kentucky there, Roger. We'll be back with more from New Jersey Motorsports Park. The Superbike's coming up in just a bit.
Don't miss the chance to eat like a king. Get ready for the road course with a full course of Mission Foods. Green flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So fill up those saddlebags and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.
The all-new 2022 Suzuki Hayabusa, the quickest, most advanced and aerodynamic Hayabusa ever. Engineered to explore the absolute limits of its potential, and yours. Developed with Suzuki's intelligent ride system, giving unmatched control and rideability. And shaped to demolish drag and cut through wind with an unmistakable silhouette. The all-new Hayabusa is ready. Are you ready for it?
Baby, just to let me down.
Let me down. If you ride, you get it. Geico Motorcycle.
We fight for the rights of riders every day. We give back millions to support the motorcycle community because we are riders, and motorcycle law is all we do. If you're injured in a motorcycle accident, don't fight the insurance companies with just any lawyer. Call 1-800-4BIKERS. We ride, we care, we win. If you go down, call Russ Brown. Motorcycle Attorneys.
Introducing Champ U from Yamaha Champions Riding School. Champ U brings you the skills taught at our 2-day in-person Champ School program and delivers it to you in a flexible, easy-to-use online format at a fraction of the price. Become a more confident rider with 40 videos, 30 drills, and 40 quizzes created by our world-class instructors. Each one is designed to give you more control over your motorcycle so you can safely have more fun on the road or track. Get it today for our intro price of just $49.95.
The United States Motorcycle Coaching Association connects riders with the best certified coaches to elevate their riding experience and improve their skills. A safe learning environment is the first step to good coaching, and all USMCA certified coaches uphold the values and code of conduct of the USMCA. Our coaches have cleared a national level background check and are CPR and first aid certified. Log on to motorcyclecoaching.org, type in your zip code to find the coach nearest you.
Back here at New Jersey Motorsports Park. 20th anniversary, or 20 years, I guess you could say, Jason, from September 11th, as a lot of thoughts are with those. But Jay, as we get back to our race action, how about this Geico save? Sam Lockoff, it starts to get out of shape, but Jay, there's a lot of skill involved in saving something like that, not letting it get out of control.
Yeah, when you come up over the top of that rise, everything gets very light, and you're on the edges of the tire, and give it just a little bit too much gas, a little bit of bumps over there too. A lot of guys use that curbing as kind of a berm if you go over there and watch them during the course of the day.
There's been a lot of remembering September 11th on this day, being that we're in New Jersey, not too far away from New York, kind of in between New York City and D.C., where a lot of the tragedy happened. But here in Millville, New Jersey, we just got done with an outstanding Supersport race. Jay, let's take a look at race 1 highlights, because if you like actual racing. Yeah, and I thought SDK got such a launch he was going to get away, but the rest of the field was able to catch up early.
Yeah, and you can see he had a little bit of a gap, and Lockoff made himself a part of this show right off the bat. He went by these two guys and was leading, and you can see, here you go, Escalante goes up underneath him there, and the 44 kept on kind of finding his way back at the front, but at the end of the day, it was the two guys that we've seen battling hard all year long for the last couple of years. Sean Dillon Kelly ended up going up underneath Escalante a couple different times. The last lap, he wasn't able to make that one stick. And then with a lap to go, he comes across the line thinking it was the last lap. And I was looking out my window. I saw STK looking back. But when they went down here into turn 1, Escalante turns it back up underneath him, only to have STK for the 4th time in the race go up underneath him there. But it was a small mistake by the Kawasaki rider that allowed STK to get to turn 10, that big long left, a little bit earlier. And they drag raced all the way to the line. And you can see it was, what, half a wheel, Greg?
Yeah, it was so close. I mean, MotoAmerica came into our booth and showed us that photo finish. Photo, legit. And it is something special. What a race. And you heard from Sean Dillon Kelly that even though this championship is so close within his grasp, that he was willing to throw it all on the line. Now, there's 75 points available in this championship until this season is over. And you can see right now that it's 66 points. So by the end of the race tomorrow, Jason, there's only got to be 50 points up for grabs. So there is a really big chance that Sean Dillon Kelly is going to wrap this championship up tomorrow.
Yeah, no question. I think he's going to go out and do the same exact thing he did today, which is try to get to the front. He knows his teammate's going to be stronger. We heard Sam talking about some changes they want to make to the bike, but it's going to be Escalante and SDK is going to want to win this race the same way he's done all year. There's nothing better than winning a championship in your last race.
I can't wait to talk to Sam Lockoff tomorrow morning and find out how his night of sleep was, because after what you've been able to learn in today's race, I can imagine putting your head on the pillow and waking up tomorrow, you're going to be a different rider.
Yeah, no question. And he had a little bit of a fall off there towards the end with about 3 or 4 laps to go. So get that tire to be a little bit more sustainable, get it a little bit better in turn 10, and Sam's going to be right there all the way to the finish.
What a Supersport race we had here from New Jersey Motorsports Park, and it's just day 1. We expect much the same tomorrow. We hope you'll join us. For Hannah, Jamie, and Jason, I'm Greg. Thanks so much. We'll see you at 1 p.m. East right here for race number 2.